So this is going to be an update on my Peace Treaty project. At my current stage, I thought it was important to figure out the user interface. So I've been building out a terminal user interface the past month or two. Now bring up the current stage of development, if it works. Mm. Uninitialize. Mm. Let me delete this and this because I put them in classes. Delete that. Mm. So there are two sections so far, one for debugging information to show kind of like the function call stack of what's going on, and a prompt section to spit out information to the user, which is still being built out right now. And these things I'm editing out used to be. So I have a TUI class that has a static TUI object because I want it to be used as a singleton to output the information. And for the TUI, these used to be fields, the section starts and the links for each of the sections. But I figured since I have multiple sections, I can just create a class, have multiple objects, and have encapsulation for the different fields I want. Yeah, and copy this here. Let's see if that works. I wonder what's wrong here. This is a new problem. Oh, I see. Hmm. Yeah, I see. All right. I'll go. I forgot. I forget what the include is supposed to be. Mm. I'll go to oh yeah. I need this because it has all the files for these. Oh no? Oh yeah, because they're in different files, different folders. I mean, that seems to fix it. I forgot that provinces is nested deeper than the infrastructure namespace. I'm also considering moving from MS Build to make files so I don't have to deal with working with MS Build all the time. I feel like it slows down production. Here we go. So as I expand this, that's not supposed to happen. I'll fix that real quick. Here, what's that? Turn right side. Oh yeah, I need to work on this too. That's when I was trying to build out the prompt section. And I'll explain what's going on there as we open up the terminal. Let's try again. Alright, so here is the call stack, the different functions. The first the first string before the comma is the file, it's n, and then the second string after the comma is the function that's being called. So here we see that we enter main, we go into start or resume game, and then print file because we want to print out a prompt. And here is a prompt. It's just an introduction saying like, welcome, here's what's up, what the game is about. And the reason why this is here is because this is using a previous method of logging before I implemented the TUI system. So all I have to do is just change the functions that call the previous logging system to the new one. And then these will be printed up here. And for navigating between the functions in the call stack, it's one is the most recent. And as you go down, going to become older. So if you enter a certain input, I don't know what the input should be yet relative to all the other inputs for the game. But for example, if Q was moved down, then if you press Q, it would be something like actually, oh yeah, yeah, I remember now. This 0 and 1. So 0 refers to this section of the debug called stack. So if you input 0 plus the plus will move the list down. So instead of doing 1, 2, 3, it would do 2, 3, 4. Or if you do multiple pluses, like 0 plus plus plus, that would move it 3 down. So it would be, what's that? Plus 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 4, 5, 6. And then if you do 0 plus like 2, the 2 after the plus becomes multiplied by the plus. So it's 0 plus plus is equivalent to 0 plus 2, and 0 plus is equivalent to 0 plus 1. On the other hand of that, you could do something like 0 minus, and instead of being, if it was 2, 3, 4, it would be 1, 2, 3. And there would be bound checking to make sure this never goes past 1. There's nothing is past 1 because this is the most recent function call. And that's how navigating through that section will work. And same logic here, but instead of using 0, use 1 to go to the prompt. And for the prompt, instead of this being here, it'll be here, the necessary, well, I guess, relevant cutting off and moving of these to fit the space between the different lines. And for that, what I have right now is a vector of strings, and you navigate this section by accessing different indices of the vector. And same thing here, just transposing this to a vector. But the way I have right now is, as you see in print file, it opens a line and prints that out to the screen. That's the current method. So if I create a vector, I put each of these strings in that vector. I mean, this is one vector, I mean, one element. This is another element after that one. This is another one after that. This one, another one after that one. So 4 strings in the vector. But this is too long. So this second one might become 3 strings. And if I have 3 strings, I want to still be contiguous. So I'd have to move these 2 strings down to, I guess, up to indices to make space for this. But if I have a lot of text, that's going to take a long time because I'm constantly shifting everything. So an alternative to that would be to have a vector of vectors. So it would still be contiguous, but take up more memory space because I'm having a lot of containers. And for like this line, having all that space allocated is excessive for just one string. So I'm not, that's my current idea, having a vector of vectors. And then enter an option. I wanted this section to be in here, but I'm not quite sure how I'm going to achieve that because the cursor is automatically placed at the bottom. I know there's an escape character for you to move the mouse back, but I think that erases everything in it. I'm not exactly sure. I'll do more research into that. But what I was thinking was that I'd have a space here for input and just mirrors everything you put here, basically. So if it's like this, the bottom part would be off screen and you still type it in normally, but you see it here. So it's still all together. And regarding the size of this, I kind of picked arbitrary values for how big it should be. But within the TUI objects, there are fields for the size, the length and width of these different sections. So potentially the user could just input new values and it'll update the TUI object. And when I call print screen again, it'll have the updated values. And between clearing the screen entirely or just printing out the new one with the old one still there, I opted for having the old one still there, at least in my current phase of development. So at least I can see what's going on. You see here, this is the old method of logging, and you see the similarities here between the files and the function. But this is reduced such that it could fit within the allocated space. And as opposed to this one, where if the text is too long, I would just break it into different strings. For this one, I'm just going to concatenate the strings to fit within the space. because having that information, having the file in the beginning of the function name is sufficient information to determine where something happened. Whereas for this, if it's concatenated, you lose a lot of information. So that's the current progress right now. And I anticipate I'll finish this over winter break, so not too long.